Yeah, especially if Arsenal winning. If they're
Yeah.
losing, we'll be for the first ones to talk about it.
Yeah, we'll be
Um,
like, Arsenal have lost 4-0. Like,
yeah, exactly.
good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all of you football fans out there. It is another game week, another episode of All About the W. And with me, as always, I have my wonderful co host, Kai. Kai, how are you doing? All good?
Yes, everything's good. A very exciting weekend of football. Lots of surprises this weekend, so can't complain. Yeah, doing pretty well.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm doing really, really well because Chelsea dropped points this weekend. So that has really gotten like it doesn't make a difference in the overall like scheme of things, but it has
Yeah.
really brightened my day. Let's just put it that way. Any
That's a thing with City. Like, it reminded me of last season where they could have easily cruised through and won the league, but they
right.
bottled it. So this time we dropped like 2 points to Leicester, and then City were like, hey, you know what? Watch us drop 3 points to Everton. We'll do it. Yeah. Anyway,
Um,
it's just, yeah.
Anyway, before we begin speaking about the games, I would like to remind everyone to please like and subscribe. We have just been overwhelmed with the amount of support we've been getting for our videos, and we really appreciate it. Make sure you put down your thoughts in the comments. It always helps us both to improve and to know that someone's out there listening. So
Can I just jump in real quick, Ash?
yeah.
So we've been getting a lot of love for our Barbara Banda video. So I just wanna tell some of our new viewers and listeners to go check it out, because obviously that's like one of those videos that's a bit like not time bound. So and we still getting some views on that video. So if you want to know more about Barbara Banda, some other things about politics and sports and things like that, about women politics specifically in like women's sport, if that's something that interests you, please do like check it out, because it's a fun one.
Yeah, it is a fun one. I enjoyed making that video. I hope we make more of those.
Yeah.
Uh, anyway, let us get into game week 10 of the WSL, and
Mm.
let's start as usual. With the high drama game, Villa versus West Ham. 3-1 Villa. Leon scored in the fourth and the 43rd minute, and then Dali in the 83rd minute. Asai scored for West Ham in the 21st minute, which I thought was a great cross. Um, High drama because De Pauw lost his job just before this game. Kai, how do you feel about all the drama that's happening at Villa Park?
You know what? I think I said this last week. I don't know if I said it on the pod or if I said it outside of it when we were discussing Villa's performance against Arsenal. I pointed out that their body, like, there was just something off with the way Villa were playing, and club that with generally not winning enough games, just like beating Palace and barely beating Palace being their only win. So there was something off, and you know what? Given everything else that we've heard, um, and of course these are like, of course, Tom Gary reported that there's been allegations that DePaul spoke about players' bodies and things like that, commented on their appearances, is what Tom Gary had reported. And you know what? If that is true, we don't want that anywhere near the women's game. And I think, Ash, you wanted to point out a tweet that DePaul had like put out.
Yeah, like, you know what? I do not know if the allegations are true. And honestly, uh, like he's gone now. And so good riddance if it does turn out to be true. But I think that even on the merits of what he was doing at Villa, the sacking was quite like just in terms of points and performances. I think the sacking was quite justified. I will say this, he tweeted when Tom Carey wrote that article. He tweeted saying something along the lines of, "I can't believe I'm being accused of this because, as a social worker and a father of a daughter and these type of things." And I'm just like, not that they need it, but advice to anybody accused of sexism or misogyny: please stop saying, as a daughter, as a brother, like as a father, as a brother, as a husband, or whatever. Like, I get
Yeah.
it. I am related to women defense is the same as I have black friend defense.
Yeah.
I'm
I have
sure.
gay
I'm
friends.
sorry. Yeah,
My
I
best
have
friend's
gay friends.
gay.
Yeah, like,
Uh,
it means, all it means is that you have the ability to procreate. I'm sorry. Like, that's just, like, the related to women defense is just the worst sort of defense. So if you're going to write something, just be like, it's not true or it's true, and leave it at that.
yeah.
Apologize if you feel bad, actually. But if you don't, that's on you, that's not on us. But, like, please just stop. Like, any men out there, if that's an accusation that comes at you, please stop using that defense.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I agree. I think this game, like coming to the actual um, like performance on the pitch, Villa to me looked a different side. I don't know if it's like a confirmation bias because I suspected something was wrong and then the guy is gone and now I'm like, oh, they're playing so well. I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know if that's true, but generally this game, I felt Villa looked very comfortable. Although like
Yeah.
West Ham did threaten them quite a bit. It was an exciting game. It was West Ham did create enough, as did Villa. It wasn't one-sided at all. I think like maybe 3-1 is a slightly flattering scoreline for Villa, but nevertheless, I think um, the reason why I'm kind of inclined to believe that something was wrong is just looking at Adriana Leon's performance and Kenza Dali's performance. Like we've been asking on this channel for Dali to start. I don't know for God knows how long now. Like I've been wondering why hasn't Dali started? I think she started like 4 matches this entire season, which is for a player of her caliber. It's I mean we were wondering if it's an issue with the system or whatever, but basically Adriana Leon coming and like basically just controlling that right wing like she does. And last season she ended on such a high. She was scoring fairly regularly for Villa, and even at the Olympics I think she had a couple of good performances with Canada. So to see her, like I think she's played like 279 minutes this season. um, and yeah, for somebody again, like it's not like they're spoiled for choice in that right hand side. They've been struggling he's had Kenza Dali play on that right wing. He's also had Chastity Grant, who's still very raw, play there. So it's been very confusing. And yeah, and the fact that these two players got a start, um, under Sean Goter, who's now filling in as the interim coach. And the performance, like Dali gets a goal and an assist, and Leon with a brace. I mean, what else can you say?
Yeah, honestly, Dali could have gotten another goal. Like, in fact, I do think Villa, like, what really struck me was the number of times Villa just went for goal. Like, there were a bunch of shots they missed, but like, you miss every opportunity that you don't take, right? Like,
Hmm.
like, I think earlier there was this sort of rigidity and like a regimentation that didn't allow them to even take those shots. And it's similar to when Jonas left Arsenal, right? Like, there was like this freedom where they were just like, okay, let's just take the shot now. Like, nobody's there to
Yeah,
like scold us.
yeah,
Um,
exactly.
and I think that that's really freeing. I don't know if it's just a temporary respite, and then Villa will go back to being as they were.
Correct.
But for now, it was joyful to watch. Like, that match was a good game to watch because
Yeah.
of that.
Yeah, I think I mean, there's something to say about like resilience and stuff like that, right? Like, you could see, I saw a clip of uh, Villa, the team during the huddle, and you could see like there was a lot of joy. Of course, it's an important win for them. So obviously there will be a bit of celebration, but generally they just look very happy. And so like I'm excited for Villa. Like Sean Goater previously was the assistant coach at Man City. He has been the assistant coach to De Pauw so far in the season. It's going to be interesting to see like what his approach is with this team as well. Yeah, post winter break, fun.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I'm looking forward to it as well. Moving on to
Hmm.
your beloved Chelsea, who dropped points this weekend, versus
Hmm.
the technically the worst team in the WSL until recently because of on goal difference.
Hmm.
Leicester. So Leicester versus Chelsea, 1-1. Goodwin scored. Leicester scored early in the 20th minute with a goal from Goodwin, and then captain scored in the 77th minute. How did you feel about this game, Kai?
Uh, Honestly, it was extremely frustrating to watch because um, the entire Chelsea squad just looked like Chelsea team just looked so like like nothing was clicking. Everybody
Yeah,
looked fatigued, and something that happens in games like this. People talk a lot about Chelsea's winning mentality, etc., etc. And to
yeah,
some extent, I do believe that it's a big part of Chelsea's success so far, and that
yeah,
usually happens when even in games like this, when it's like a low block, teams are frustrating you. Like one player just steps up and does the job,
yeah,
like somebody, one or two players just turn up, and that didn't happen. Like, of course, like captain had that one good moment, uh, which was very fortunate for Chelsea. I mean, honestly, if he had dropped all 3 points, I wouldn't complain based on that performance. But you know what? Like more than focusing on Chelsea, I think I'd like to speak like a little bit about Leicester as well, because I think um, I think this game showed why Leicester, in that bottom half of the table, they have the best defensive record. Like they haven't conceded many goals. Of course, they conceded 4 goals to Man City last week, but beyond that, their like defensive record, like they've been very, very organized. So I mean, it's like a recipe for disaster, right? Like you uh, you concede to a team that wants to like sit in a low block and frustrate you very early on in the game, then like you don't have a choice. You have to break them down, which Chelsea couldn't do. So credit to Leicester on that, and also credit to Leicester for like that beautiful team goal. Like I think if Chelsea's goal was like this moment of individual brilliance, it was the exact opposite for Leicester. Like it was a beautiful team goal right from the halfway line, going out wide, a beautiful cutback, back post. Of course, nobody was marking Goodwin at the back post. That's a different
yeah. I
story.
was, I was gonna say that. I'm sorry that goal. Like, full props to Leicester for scoring it. Well done,
Yeah,
very well done. But it was an open goal. Like there were no there were Chelsea. Like Nuskin was literally staring at a Goodwin when like Goodwin had the ball. She looked up. He looked at Nuskin and scored. Okay, as if to say like, what the hell, are you not going to block this? Like,
yeah, I know. She took a touch. She looked up where Hampton was, where everybody
yeah.
was. Like it was literally moving in slow. Like for to me, it was moving in like
Yeah.
slow motion. I was like, where is everybody? Are we playing with four
Yeah.
players? But you know what? I think this is it's something I don't know if it's been spoken about enough. And I think this has happened to Chelsea more in the Champions League than it has in the WSL. So maybe we haven't spoken about it enough, but we have been conceding really sloppy goals all season. I think the thing is, so far we've had good days in attack,
Yeah.
and so it's okay to concede sloppy goals. So this is the first time Chelsea finally paid the price, for doing that, like for not being defensively switched on. Like I
Yeah.
understand you're trying to control the ball. Here is a team that's going to sit back. Like, I mean, of course they're going to counter. That's
Yeah.
clearly their strategy. So you just have to be switched on at all times. And I think the other thing that I want to point out is also that you know um, like Amelie Miguel is also coming from the French league, and so she's somebody who I think in the press conference, she said she has a surprise strategy for Sonia or something like that. They know each other well. They faced each other handful of times. So yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I don't necessarily think Sonia's tactics is what went wrong, because like you can't, like, I mean, when you're sitting with, like, when you're dealing with a low block like that, sometimes it's just fully on the players, to have that one creative spark, a few
Yeah.
moments. It just didn't happen. Yeah, so I think it's largely on the players than it is on Sonia. But yeah, to me, I think it was a very, as far as Chelsea is concerned, I think it was an important result, because
Yeah.
now it's a good reminder that we need to go into the market for a centre back. Because I mean, we have two fit center backs at this point, and one is out with a long term injury. So we need some, like, we need to get solid defensively, but also generally as a team how we play. Like, conceding sloppy goals like this, you can't go very far into the Champions League. uh,
Yeah.
League is different, but you have cup games, Champions League, these, like, turn very quickly, concede one goal and it's over.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So I think, yeah, no alarm bells, but yeah, I think it's a, I mean, these slip ups happen during a season,
Yeah.
which is fine. But hey, you know what, Ash? We're still unbeaten.
Yeah, still unbeaten.
Yeah.
That is something. And I will say about Chelsea also that it's in the WSL at least they hadn't gone a goal down till date,
Hmm.
and so it was really important for them to have this experience and know that they can still get something out of the game.
Yeah.
So I have a feeling that like the next time it happens, they know what to do because like I'm sure Sonia must have walloped them when they went back for all of those chances that they missed. They missed
Yeah.
two, three really decent ones. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
uh,
I think there was like this. I mean, there's this last, like, literally in the dying moments of the game, there was a chance that Nuskan sort of scuffed.
yeah,
But anyway, I mean, it's fine. I honestly, if he had won that game, it would have been a smash and grab. Like, that's what I
yeah.
definitely feel that way. Like, I don't think we deserve to win that game at all. But anyway, moving on to Brighton versus Spurs, finishing 1-1. A goal from Beth England in the 75th minute and Oli Slegers in the 82nd minute for Brighton. Ash, what did you think of the game? I'm sure you're fairly pleased with this outcome.
Yeah, listen, I have so like buckle up, people. I have so many things to say about this game. Okay, because honestly, I was very happy with this game. Now, for the neutral, it must have been a bit of a disappointment since like not much happened in terms of football. I mean, there was lots of drama off the pitch, which I'll get to, but like on the pitch, nothing really happened. But even though I predicted a draw for this game, like most Spurs fans, I was really worried about this game, especially after seeing like the Brighton versus Chelsea performance. Like, I think most Spurs fans would agree with me. I look at Brighton with like a great deal of envy. Like at the end of last season, I genuinely thought, like, here we go. We have an experienced, progressive manager. We've reached a cup final. I thought, we did enough to prove to Daniel Levy that he should put more money into the women's team. And like I genuinely thought that Spurs would do what Brighton have done, which is like get 6 or 7 players, push on to be the best of the rest, and like after the top three, obviously. But unfortunately, that didn't really happen. We didn't really strengthen enough in the transfer season. And like we
Hmm.
can see that now with a few injuries to Raso and Oro and a long-term injury to Graham, we really dropped off,
Yeah.
especially defensively. So it was obvious that on current form, like Brighton were the favorites, right? Especially at home. So yeah, I am happy. Like
Mm.
coming to the game itself, like the game was like I'm sure you'd agree with me, the game was lackluster, right? But
Yeah.
like especially that KG first half. But for me, it was actually that first half performance that gave me immense joy because like
Mm.
both teams only had a few chances. Seke didn't get under a cross, England didn't get under a cross, and as expected, Brighton had more of the ball.
Mm.
But the reason I was really happy is because I could see the improvement of the ball. Like I don't know what it is when Oros is playing, Spence and Sumanan just look more effective at winning the ball in the midfield. It has nothing to do with Oros. It's just they just the midfield balance, like that harmony is better. And
Mm.
like Ash Neville pinched the ball off a Brighton player a few times, and he put in a tackle or two. Um, and we were better out passing from the back. I mean, despite the fact that Molly Barter literally passed the ball to Nikita Parrish, I think in the 10th minute. But apart from that, we were decent passing out from the back,
Yeah.
and like England was dropping deep to win the ball in midfield. All the basics that we'd been getting wrong, we seem to have practiced during the break, and we
Hmm.
looked so much better for it.
Yeah. No, that's really good because I think Brighton and Spurs are, I think, in the league probably teams that are very sloppy passing out from the back. So
Yeah.
to see that not happen to Spurs this time around, it's yeah, it's refreshing and it's hopeful, right? But
Yeah.
also there was a stoppage during the match, right? Do you think it affected the momentum? What happened there?
Okay, so basically, in the second half, the game was stopped because of a medical emergency. Apparently, it was to a steward, but like there are other
Okay.
people online saying it was because of a fan had an medical emergency. And
Okay.
the protocol, and I didn't know this, is that the game has to stop and all the players have to leave the pitch until the emergency is sorted. So,
Okay.
so for like 14 minutes all the players left. It was just like we were staring at an empty pitch for 14 minutes. And
Hmm.
but like, and I do think that like when the game, like in the second half, I thought that the game sort of like heated up a little bit, especially towards the end. And I feel like that all kind of just like tape like went away with this stoppage because I think everyone just lost steam a little bit.
Right, right,
Um,
yeah.
but I will say before that, like before the stoppage, in the second half, I thought Spurs had the better chances. Like,
Hmm.
granted, Parish scuffed a chance in the 63rd minute, but I thought like that Thomas cutback for the England goal was just
Oh yeah.
class, like absolute
Yeah.
class. Nas's pass to Thomas was also class. Everything about that goal from start to finish was class, and it
Yay.
was a really well worked team goal. And we've been doing that
Mhm.
recently. We've been scoring a lot of team goals. And
Yeah.
and yes, we conceded that Brighton goal, but it wasn't from a stupid mistake. It wasn't from passing out from the back. It was a quality, unstoppable goal from Ollie Sluggers. So,
Hmm.
like, credit to our defense, only letting in good goals. We're
Yeah.
very particular like that.
Yeah. Very nice.
But yeah, I would also say, special shout out to all the veterans in this game, like on both sides, right? Like the absolute monstrous work rate of like McLaughlin, Kankovich on Brighton's behalf, and like Beth England and Ashneville for Spurs. They were just everywhere doing everything. Like what is that movie? Everything, everywhere, all at
Everywhere all
once.
at
Like
once. Yeah.
literally that was them, and like just
Yeah.
consummate professionals putting in like 100%. I
Yeah.
would add Nikita Parrish to this list, but I think despite her work rate, she wasn't where she was supposed to be. So, uh, yeah, I mean, that
Yeah.
basically sums up the game.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. I think for me, Ash Neville is somebody who kind of exemplifies that, commitment, body on the line
Yeah.
type of defending. Sometimes I feel
Yeah.
like Ash Neville is the only player in the Spurs defense. Of course, she has like, as any
Yeah.
defender would, has like howlers, but yeah, in general, I think
I
she's,
love her. She's my
yeah.
favorite Spurs player.
And
I
we
won't lie.
we love her hair on this pod.
Yes,
Like
yes.
we're big
Approve
fans.
Ash Neville's hair.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Moving on to Everton versus City, it was 2-1. Hope scored in the 31st minute, and then and Hayashi in the 39th minute. And then for City, Fowler scored in the 89th minute. City dropped points as a Chelsea fan. You must be quite delighted with that, Kai.
Yeah, I had a lot of work yesterday, right? So I was actually not watching this game. I was doing some other work on the side, and then my fort mob was popping off. I was like, wait, what's happening? And I checked, and like Everton were one goal up. And then I was like, oh my God, I have to watch this. And that's how I started watching the match. But yeah, I think, listen, I was a little disappointed with the Chelsea result on Saturday, but suddenly on Sunday night we are like 6 points here, at the top going into like Christmas. So That's crazy. Yes, definitely happy. I think this is a big slip up from City, but they've also shown that they can go on this like crazy winning runs um,
Yeah,
in the second half of the season. In the last few seasons, they've shown that. But yeah, I mean, again, like I think credit to Everton. I thought it was a comprehensive performance from them, like offensively and defensively. Like I don't think they were really sitting. They was pressing City well. Of course, after they went a goal up, and definitely after they went two goals up, they were like obviously going to defend. You're not going to like any team would do that, and especially with like the difference in quality between those teams.
yeah,
I thought Everton were quite fantastic. But yeah, I mean, I guess injuries played a role for City. Um, it's usually not something I'd like to focus on. Like for example, like Chelsea also had injuries, but I don't really want to talk about it too much. But I think the crucial one in this particular game was probably Alex Greenwood, because she's picked up an injury against Bolton in the Champions League, and we don't know how serious that is. But she obviously did not make the squad in this match against Everton, and I think Greenwood has in some ways been like the linchpin of that defense.
right.
So
The thing is, against any other team, I would be like, okay, fine, you have injuries, like understandable loss. But this is Everton, like Everton, who are going through financial difficulties, who can't buy players, who have like a paper thin squad. Like if you want to know about injuries, ask an Evertonian. I'm
yeah, three
sorry.
ACLs.
Like,
Yeah,
yeah, like I'm sorry, like there's no defense for a team like a juggernaut like City to go like, oh, we had injuries, so we lost to
yeah,
Everton. And the thing is, like I have to say, like I think it was either Sophie from Girls on the Ball. One of them brought up the fact that City have no plan B, and it was just so evident. Okay, like they just kept
mm,
doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result.
yeah,
And to me, it felt like it just felt like a giant waste of time. Like if you score early, great, then you'll win and you
mm,
just like decimate your opposition. But what
yeah,
happens when you don't score early? Then what do you do?
yeah. I think the difference between the two teams was like Everton were clinical, like they
Yeah,
had 3-4 opportunities and they put away. I think they had 4 shots on target and they scored 2 goals off of it. And Alana Kennedy, I thought was poor. Actually, the whole left hand side, like Wahabi, Fujino, Alana Kennedy, all of them did not have a great game, is what I felt. But I think the difference was the midfield. Like City were obviously not like they couldn't score. I mean, honestly, yeah, they just couldn't finish their chances. And I thought the Everton midfield was really good. Like Park and Rod were completely ineffective. And that's the thing, right? Like in games like this, I think with City, there's a lot of reliance on Greenwood and Hasagawa to play those like spray those passes, like even if it's like crossfield ones or line breaking ones, whatever it is, that creativity always seems to come from them. And
yeah,
what I'm unsure about is that is Jess Park's performance, because she's also somebody who can bring it for the City team, and we haven't seen a whole lot of that lately, and that's a bit concerning. But
yeah,
yeah, I mean the plan B thing is you're absolutely right. Yeah, but
yeah.
yeah, big shout out to Everton. And uh, you know, thank you, Blues. Uh, anyway, um, let's move on to the Crystal Palace versus Manchester United game, finishing 1-0 Manchester United. Grace Clinton scoring in the stoppage time at the end of the first half. Uh, it's a bit of an underwhelming game, Ash. I did not catch a lot of it. But yeah, what did you make of United's performance? How did you think Crystal Palace fared?
Honestly, this game was such a snooze fest. Like I was watching it live, then I fell asleep. Then every time the commentator's voice would go up a little bit, like in volume, I would get up and be like, "What's happening? What's happening?" And nothing was happening. and, like after a while, I had to like literally rewatch the game. uh, today, simply because I had watched it live, but I had no recollection of what had happened in this game because such a snooze fest. You know, but like to sum it up, like United pretty much had the ball for most of the first half. But I would argue that Palace had the best chance from Katie Stengel that was deflected. Unfortunately, Stengel, who until then I thought had been Palace's best player, was injured after running into Dallas Joyce trying to score that goal. And after that, Palace just looked a little bit toothless up top, and it's a shame that she got injured. Honestly, like she was carried away on a stretcher, so I am quite worried about her.
Right. Yeah.
Um, but like honestly, I don't know whether to chide United for being terrible in attack or congratulate United for consistently walking away with 3 points despite their inability in front of goal.
Yeah.
Like even the goal they scored was because Shea Yanis made a horrible blunder while passing out from the back. Like she literally passed it to like Clinton. I mean, it could be argued that United's press helped create the blunder and she was there to put it away. But honestly, United were just so ho hum. Like I don't even think it was their press. And like
Uh,
things got like a bit more interesting in the second half, partially because being a goal down, Palace came out to play.
mm,
And Yanis made up for her mistakes with like two decent saves. And Clinton was good. Like the United defense was good as usual. I did think Bizet was a bright spark when she was brought on for Jace. Jace
mm.
was not happy about being substituted, by the way. But like Bizet had a one decent shot on target that Yanis saved. I do think Skinner still hasn't figured out Bizet's best position in the squad, like to utilize
Mm.
her full potential. But I don't expect him to do it either.
Yeah.
And on the whole, like this game was nothing to write home about. Like it's no secret that we're not Skinner fans here on All About the W. But as long as he's getting the points, technically he's doing his job, so there can be no complaints.
Yeah. Let's focus on getting one coach sacked at a time.
Yeah. Well, DePaul's
uh,
done. Skinner's next.
Jonas
Like
is done.
yeah, Jonas is done. DePaul's done. Skinner, like
Yeah.
we're just going through the ranks now.
Let's see how it goes for Mark Skinner. But yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
like with Bize as well, like I think she's still very young. I kind of forget how young she is, you know. Like for some reason, I think I always feel like she's a more experienced player. And not because of her game, but for some other reason. I do not know what that reason is. But she's still a young player, and I mean, for a young player to be under Mark Skinner, I don't know how hopeful I'd feel. But yeah, point is hopefully Skinner would like will find her best position because she's somebody who can like really turn up in a game, and make that difference. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Absolutely. Moving on to Liverpool versus Arsenal, which was 1-0. I have noticed that somehow we always end up doing the Arsenal game last in our like coverage of all the games. And I'm genuinely wondering if it's because we've like internalized our mutual hatred for Arsenal. So we're just like, yeah, we'll do them. Like we'll stick them in the end and we kind of talk about them.
Yeah, especially if Arsenal winning. If they're
Yeah.
losing, we'll be for the first ones to talk about it.
Yeah, we'll be
um
like, Arsenal have lost 4-0. Like,
yeah, exactly. uh, no,
um,
yeah,
so
Russo, yeah.
it was 1-0. Russo scored at the 20th minute. How did you feel about it, Kai?
It was just like it was a blah game, Yeah, I feel like, all teams, like last week it was a goal fest, this time nobody wanted to score by the looks of it. So yeah, 5 goals in 5 games for Russo. I think she's somebody who gets criticized, and I think we've also spoken about her, dry patches that she has. So it's good to see her. Um, yeah, it's good to see her scoring. I can't even say it. I can't even say like it is so disingenuous. No, but seriously, no, Alessiarusso, if you're listening, uh, congratulations, well done. But generally, as a striker, it's always like stop smiling. Sorry. Okay, so I mean, it's always good to see. It's it's always disappointing to see a striker who's like really like somebody who's as committed as Alessiarusso. Like her work rate is absolutely impressive. She does so many different things on that pitch, and not to see her not being able to finish, it's always disappointing. Objectively, if you look at her as a player, so to see her now starting to score goals for Arsenal is actually really nice. I think for me, the most eventful thing that happened in this game was Mariona missing her penalty. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's just one of those games. Like, it's not like Arsenal managed to create too many chances. Liverpool had like barely anything to work with. And they've been that way for the past 2-3 weeks now. And now, like without Roman Haug, they've been struggling, and now they've lost Hobinger as well. So you know, just nothing in attack. They're just offering
Mm.
nothing in attack at this point. So yeah, I mean, it was Arsenal's game to lose this one, considering how Liverpool are playing. But uh, yeah, I mean, I think the only thing I'll say is credit to Rennes Slegers again, because um, now they've won all the games like, under her. I think drawn one and won the rest. They've only conceded 2 goals under her. So, stuff like that, I think clearly, and they're actually managing to score goals now as well. So, something's going right there. So, credit to her for pulling that, well, literally pulling up that sinking ship.
Yeah.
And we'll have to see. I think, I mean, in my opinion, seeing how Arsenal have been playing, I feel like maybe she deserves to keep her job till the end of the year, end of the season. But of course, like if the club wants to go like a different way, that's also understandable. They want like a more experienced manager to compete in the Champions League or whatever it is. That's also fair. But yeah, good for
I
Rennes
honestly,
Lakers.
I really like Renée Slegers. Like I'm saying this in all honesty as a Spurs fan. I think that she's no, I'm like serious, like full like objective football person here. I do genuinely like her, and I like the way she conducts herself, and I like the things that she's doing. And like I said in the previous episode, she's figured out so many problems for Arsenal, and like despite the fact like this game was such a comedy of errors, like with Russo skying that ball and the penalty hitting the post, and like so many things were like Arsenal were trying to lose that game and they still won it.
Yeah,
And like to me, that's tactical. Like when you are playing badly, not badly, but like when your things are not working out for you, but you're still winning the game.
yeah.
Um, and winning it with like a decent amount of control over the game. Because like Liverpool had nothing. To me
Hmm.
that suggests that it's tactical, and I in that case I always credit the manager. So
Yeah,
um honestly, like I really hope that Renée Slager stays, because I think she's doing an exceptional job. And like if this does not prove that she's worth investing in, I don't know what will, because
hmm.
she's just like racking up the points every week. That's all she
Yeah,
can do.
yeah. I think the next game. So Arsenal are playing Bayern at home on Wednesday. I think in the Champions League, and I think I feel like that'll be like. I mean, Slegers in some ways has also had like an easy run of fixtures, if that's like okay to say that. But I feel like Bayern would be like a good test, basically. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, and uh, obviously, I don't want them to get far in the Champions League, but if they do beat Bayern, I think that she deserves to keep her job for sure.
Yeah.
Um, so that brings us to the end of game week 10. Tell us if you agree with us. Tell us if you don't disagree with us in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We really appreciate it. And with that, we're signing off on All About the W. See you next week.